Hello there, how are you doing? Before we start this application, we're going to take a bit of a different approach because this time what we want to do is as soon as people start typing something here, right? People start typing something, we have to execute this AJAX call. We're not waiting for a button click, people will click the button and then we will submit, get the AJAX call. No, it's going to be actually live. So as soon as people start typing here, the AJAX call should be made and the results should be displayed here. Okay, so this is kind of different than what we have done before in the last two projects. Okay, and the second thing is as soon as users come here, the first thing we want is this input field to be activated. It is on focus. For example, it's nothing. But once I click, as you can see, this flashes. So you can start typing and it goes directly there. So the first thing we want to do is when people refresh the page, of when people land on our page, I want this to be activated. First thing, I need to focus this field, search field. So I'm pretty sure I named it search. Let me have a look. Input name is search, class ID is search. Great. So let me target that one. So that ID with the search, what I want to do is I want to focus. When the document is ready, I want to focus, and it's simple as that. Okay, using the focus method. Now if I come here, refresh the page, as you can see, it is already in focus without having me to click here. It's already focused. Refresh, you can see that. Beautiful. So that as soon as people land here, they can start typing. Awesome. That's one thing done. Very easy. As soon as people start typing something here, so we have a method in jQuery which is element. Okay, and then first it is on focus, then we use this on method. Now this is a mouse keyboard event method. Okay, so a keyup, this is we get this keyup event we can use in jQuery. So with keyup, which means as soon as something happens here, people type in and then up, at least they have to type one word first, right? So keyup, we're going to execute a function which will make the AJAX call. Awesome. Now before we use this on, we have to what we have to do is we have to make it off. Okay? So search off keyup. To begin with, it is off because otherwise they won't be able to type. It just doesn't work. So to begin with, it's off. As soon as they at least they type one letter, then the AJAX will execute, the function will execute. Before they type even one, then there's no point doing that. Okay, so one, press the button and then the key up, then the search begins. Beautiful. Now we're going to take a different approach. Instead of just writing every function inside function, making it huge, what we're going to do is we're going to separate. Okay, so this AJAX function I will create on top of this document ready. So everything happens here, but the function doesn't have to belong here. So otherwise it becomes kind of crazy. It becomes so messy all the time. So instead of directly writing a function AJAX call here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the function name. We invoke the function here. Let me call this AJAX call, which I haven't created yet. Okay, let me call it AJAX call. This function I will create soon. Okay, this is how it will execute. Okay, once the key is up, it will execute. Now let's do this. Let's create this function. Okay, now before we have been using .getJSON, right? Now we can use another one called AJAX as well. Okay, so this one is gives you a bit more control. Okay, so this AJAX method, you will create an object. Okay, so inside this object you add the properties, for example URL or the type of AJAX call you're going to make, such as get or post, and then success. When it is successfully completed, what you want to do is, so it's a bit more organized. Okay, first thing, URL, we have to get the URL. Okay, you don't need to get API key or anything, just like that weather app. So it's pretty easy. However, we need to search for this one, Wikipedia search API. Okay, let's search API search. Okay, let's see. So they have, what they have here is they have one example here, as you can see. So the URL, for example, whatever api.php, and then we have the action, which is a query. So what is the query? The search. So here we pass the search parameter. So search format, first of all, we will identify as the JSON and research. Let's build our own a URL. Okay, so let's get back here. So what I'm going to do is, first thing what I need is, so this is the URL. So wikipedia.org/w/API. Okay, so this is what they have here. They haven't given the full URL, but that is the one we use. Okay, so /api.php, and then what action equals to query. So in this case, .php what we do there is action equals to, our action will be a query, we searching. Okay, action query, and list. Now the list will be search, and we want JSON, we want the format. So the list equals to search and format equals to JSON and JSON and SRSEARCH. Okay. As you can see, the SRSEARCH. Okay. So pay close attention to it. Take some time. Maybe pause the video to copy up to here. Okay. Search and as you can see, the format equals to JSON and SR search. Now it's not complete yet. Equals to, and then we add some more parameters such as the value of this input field. So in this is the search, right? This is the target element. Okay, and what we are interested in is its value. So you can get the value of the input field in jQuery using this format. Okay, so we have the URL, but JSON and search equals to, we have to pass the parameter whatever we want to do it based on. Before, for example, for whether it was Paris or something, the same way for this URL we want to give the search query, and that is whatever comes from the input field, which is the this ID class name search, and that's val. So that's value is the one we're looking for. Okay, so that's great. That's done. URL is done. Now next, let's say let's define the data type as well. So as you can see, with this method we can be more specific. Okay, so data type is JSON P. Okay, now what is this JSON P? Data type. Okay, another type, that's the data type. Now the request type is get. Okay, get, post, delete, all that we can do. This one is get request. Now success, when this request is success, what are we going to do? We're going to write this anonymous function which will return the data, and then we can do all sorts of things with this data. So what are we going to do? We have this div that we created before, because when we get the data we want to display them in a live, kind of a live search, you know. So that's why we created this div, right, which has the ID of update, and as soon as we get the data based on the search query, we will populate on this div. Okay, so that's what we can do. We can target that element. Okay, we can target update div. However, before we do anything, let's console log and see what we get. Okay, okay, so when the keyup happens, this call gets requested. In fact, what I did, I just made the actual AJAX call and didn't wrap it in a function. This is a function I was trying to invoke, right? So let me copy this one, okay, and create a function. Now this AJAX is actually going to get wrapped inside. Okay, make sure this one is comma, not the semicolon. All right, great. Okay, so I wrap this inside AJAX call because this function I want to execute here. Okay, so this AJAX call, let's see if we get anything in the console. Okay, refresh, inspect. Okay, now console, we get the object. Awesome. Okay, so no search. Even before we start searching, we get something. Okay, so let's type Java. As you can see, as I type, 4 letters and 4 search results. It's amazing, right? As you can see, as we type here in the input field, we get the result directly from Wikipedia API, which is awesome, which is exactly what we want. So this video has been quite long, so let's stop here. The lesson here we learned so far is we can put AJAX request in a separate function and invoke. That way the code is much more maintainable. And then we also learn how to make AJAX requests not only on button click, but things like this key up, right? Key up, key down, for in events such as key up. And in this event we execute this AJAX request and we got the response as well. Now in the next video we will implement it further. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.